YouTube, how's it going? Today we're going to be going into my favorite selection by every single team in the NFL draft. We're doing this a couple weeks after the draft has now been over. Had some time to think it through. I created this a while ago. I've kind of tweaked it a little bit, but I was taking a much needed break from YouTube after I really was grinding really hard throughout the draft process, to where now I just took a couple weeks off. So hopefully you guys stuck around and you guys are able to enjoy this video. And if you are, please be sure to leave a like and subscribe if you are new. But let's not take too much time. Let's dive right into this, starting off with our first team. And we're going to be going division by division here, so just know that your team will be coming up once you start seeing more teams in your division. But we're starting off with Malik Willis, the third-round selection at pick 86 for the Titans. I love this pick. This is a guy who could have went first round, has the upside of being the best quarterback in this draft class, and he's going to a situation where Tannehill is getting older, and after this season, there is a lot easier of a way to get out of his contract than there is currently. So you get a guy who's going to be able to sit and groom, and if an injury happens to Tannehill, will be able to go out there and display what he can do. But on top of that, you have a guy who can be a successor to Tannehill with not having to spend that capital. You know, this is a guy who could have went in the first round, most likely in the second, somehow fell to the third, but you're getting let's just meet in the middle and say a second round grade on a quarterback, and you're getting him in the third round when you're a competitive team that isn't usually going to be picking high, but he has the upside of being a first-round pick. That's going to be awesome for Tennessee, and they're going to have a great time with Malik Willis. For the Indianapolis Colts, I have Jelani Woods, the 73rd selection in round 3. Jelani Woods is a big tight end, and I absolutely love this, learning from Mo Alley Cox, being there. I think he's going to make an impact right away in Indianapolis. You see the connection that Kyle Pitts and Matt Ryan had last year. You saw the connection that Matt Ryan had with Austin Hooper in his days there. I mean, this is a guy who is constantly getting to his tight ends. Hayden Hurst had a good year last year as well. So you're looking at a young tight end who is big target for this Indianapolis Colts offense. And Matt Ryan's in this new situation where he's still getting chemistry with everybody. So he can have a pretty good chemistry with a guy like Jelani Woods right off the bat and have another stellar rookie tight end on his offense. I really like this pick for Indianapolis. I think it's going to be a home run in the next couple years. For the Houston Texans, pretty simply, it was Christian Harris for me, the 75th pick in round 3. I know these are all round 3 prospects so far. It's not how it's going to continue to be, but Christian Harris was one of my favorite linebackers in this draft class. Early on in the draft process, I had him fringe up there with, Nakobe Dean and Devin Lloyd. I had him as that good of a prospect. I had him in the first round in a bunch of mock drafts. This is a guy who can cover like crazy, but still has that sideline-to-sideline speed, has played so much at Alabama, everything that you'd want in a player coming into the NFL at the linebacker position, and you're getting him here at pick 75. He was easily a second-round grade for me, without a doubt. So him falling here to Houston is really going to help this defense, and I think he's going to make an impact right away and be a day-one starter. Then we got over to the Jacksonville Jaguars, and they are going to be Devin Lloyd, their second first-round pick at pick 27. Devin Lloyd falling here was absolutely nuts. I can't believe that he fell this far in the draft, but it makes sense watching the players that were picked before him, but at the same time, Lloyd is as talented, if not more talented than most of those guys. I had him as pretty much a top 10 prospect in this class. He's that good, has that much upside, has that much talent, and now going into a defense that has let go of Myles Jack. Joe Scobert's out. There's a lot of space to be filled, but Devin Lloyd, now joining in with Trayvon Walker. I mean, this is going to be an intense defense coming at you in that front seven. So I really do like what they did here with Devin Lloyd's selection at 27. I think he's going to be the leader of the defense, and he's going to make an impact right away. Easily my favorite pick. They knocked it out of the park with the second pick in the first round. For Kansas City, this was a tough one, but I ended up going with Trent McDuffie at pick 21. They looked at their secondary. They realized they needed some help in it, and they get a guy, McDuffie, who I think has the upside of being a number 1 corner. L'Jarius Sneed has done a very good job there in Kansas City, so getting him a running mate in McDuffie is perfect for this situation in Kansas City. This team is looking a lot different than what it was last year, but I'm excited to see what these Chiefs do because they're becoming more of an all-around team with the moves that they've made. They're not necessarily just this high-powered offense and this subpar defense. I think that they're really an all-around team at this point, and it looks pretty solid to me. McDuffie, absolute great selection. Love the pick. Here at the 4th round at pick 122, Zamir White was the selection for the Las Vegas Raiders, and I love this pick. The reason why I love this pick is because, one, I love Zamir White as a prospect. I've been very high on him throughout this draft process. But the reason I love this pick so much is, Josh Jacobs' option was declined. Kenyon Drake has probably this is last year in Vegas, if I had to guess. If not, he might not even make it to the final roster this year just because of the cap casualty he has on him. But Zamir White is a very, very good running back. He truthfully is. But when you're splitting a backfield with James Cook, who we know is an amazing pass catcher, he wasn't able to get the run that you'd want from a guy as a number one back. But you're looking at what he did at Georgia and how good of an impact he's made. This is a guy who can be a number one in a backfield for the NFL if he gets that potential. He's a tough Georgia running back. You know, he plays like a Georgia running back. We've seen the Georgia running backs come in. Obviously, he's not as highly graded as Nick Chubb and Todd Gurley and company coming out. But this is a guy who has played very well in his time and has the ability to make that impact and be, if at the worst, you know, a part of a duo in the backfield that can really do a lot back there. I think Zamir White's going to make an impact in his first year, and it might lead to some tough decisions. It's kind of similar to what I saw with Damian Harris with the Patriots. You know, Damian Harris kept playing really well for the Patriots until he finally forced his way into that starting lineup, and he has not looked back. For the Los Angeles Chargers, I have Isaiah Spiller here. He just is the perfect complement to a guy like Austin Eckler, truthfully. I think a lot of people do like this pick. Spiller was a guy who was graded as the number one running back for a little while. A lot of people had him as that, and then he started to fall down throughout the draft process. But Spiller does have that talent. He has that upside, and you're pairing him alongside Austin Eckler, who's one of the best backs in the NFL. This is just a perfect selection at this late of a pick, too, in round 4. I mean, this is awesome for the Chargers to get a running mate back there. So just making this scary offense even scarier, getting another guy who you can really trust with the ball a lot more than the guys that they have out there right now. And I think he'll end up being running back 2 when it all comes to it at the start of the season. For the Denver Broncos, I have their third-round selection, Greg Dulcich out of UCLA being their pick. The reason why they got rid of Noah Fant in that Russell Wilson trade, and as much as I like Albert O as a prospect, we don't know what he looks like and how good he is going to be in that starting role. So getting a guy in Dulcich who really could have been tight end 1 in this draft class. It was a toss-up between McBride and Dulcich and a couple other guys, but he was some people's tight end 1. Some people had him as that. Some people had him as a second-round grade. So for him to be here in the third round for Denver, a team that, you know, sold a lot to get a guy like Russell Wilson, for him to be there and to be able to get another weapon on this offense for Russell Wilson, who we know has made so many different tight ends. I mean, Will Disley has had his shine. Luke Wilson has had his shine. I mean, there's so many different guys that have gotten the ball from Russell Wilson at that tight end position. They can rotate in and out. Dulcich can definitely add to that offense. I really do like this pick a ton for Denver. For Buffalo, this is a pretty simple one for me. Khalil Shakir out of Boise State, the 148th pick. The fact that he fell this far is absolutely bonkers to me. I can't believe he was still there on the board for the Bills. This is a guy who, if they would have taken him in the second or third round, I would have been shocked. I wouldn't have been shocked, and I would have said it was a great pick, and probably still would be my favorite pick. The reason why I love this is because, you know, Sanders probably pondering retirement. No one knows what's happening with him. Cole Beasley's off the team now. There's really a big spot behind Diggs and Gabe Davis. But behind them, there's really a big hole to be filled. And, you know, Isaiah McKenzie's there. Now they have Khalil Shakir. There's a lot of different things. But the reason why I love this pick is Shakir really can fit into that role perfectly. I love his game. I think that he's going to do a ton in that offense. I really do think day one he can have an impact similar to what Darius Slayton had for the Giants a couple years back, you know, being a late round pick but still in training camp earning some time on the field and getting out there. I think Khalil Shakir is going to be a steal of a pick for the Buffalo Bills, and the rich are getting richer with this selection. For the Patriots, I have Marcus Jones at pick 85 being my favorite pick for them. This is a guy who, you know, as long as he's on the field, he is an absolute beast. He's a little undersized, but one of my favorite corners coming into this draft. I had him as a second-round grade. Getting him here at pick 85, I think, is the perfect situation for the Patriots. And he just has that type of talent that you think that the Bill Belichick system and the defense in New England is going to want and be able to use in such a great way, similar to what they did with Logan Ryan, because this is a guy who can make tackles, can really read defenses very well, but also can play the ball very well. He can do a lot. He can do pretty much everything. I like this pick a lot for the Patriots. For the Dolphins, this was a harder one. Obviously, the Dolphins didn't have too many selections in the draft, and, you know, for Dolphins fans, I'd be excited about that because that's a long time coming and not have to have so many draft picks and things to fill. But Channing Tindall, he just fits the linebacker core to a T in Miami. He fits exactly what they're looking for. There's really nothing more to say. I mean, I think Tyndall is solid. I don't think he's the best linebacker in this class. I don't think he's necessarily top 3 in this class at the linebacker position, but I do think that he is exactly what Miami needs at that linebacker spot, thus making it my favorite pick in this draft for them. For the New York Jets, it's kind of hard not to go Jermaine Johnson. This is a guy who I thought they might have taken at 4, then I thought they might have taken him at 10, and somehow they got him at 26. We've all heard all the talk about the Jets. I mean, they knocked it out of the park with their draft. They really were able to get a ton of steals. They were able to do a lot with their draft picks, and Jermaine Johnson has the upside of being, ironically, the best pass rusher in this class. He does have that upside. It'll be hard for him to get to it, but he does have that upside. And pairing him alongside Carl Lawson, it's just going to be awesome to see in New York. The Jets are really trying to turn this around, and I think they're on their way. Sorry to interrupt the video, but I just want to talk to you about Underdog Fantasy really quick. The NFL season's over, but you can still draft a new fantasy team on Underdog Fantasy and win cash prizes. They have a slick mobile app and a user-friendly site. You can also join a league and draft a team in minutes. Plus, the folks at Underdog are helping you guys out that are watching the video by matching up to $100 on your first deposit for new users when you use code SORMANI, SORMANI. So just go to UnderdogFantasy.com or go download the App Store or the Google Play Store. Sign up with the code SORMANI, that's SORMANI, and Underdog is going to match your first deposit all the way up into $100. That's Underdog Fantasy, promo code SORMANI, SORMANI. Now let's get back to this video. For the Bengals, another team that's kind of hard to grade their selections, but for me, I took Jeffrey Gunter and their 7th-round pick at pick 252. The reason why is I think Gunter has a lot of upside. Coastal Carolina was a shocking team these past couple of years, just proving that they are a solid system, which is awesome to see. I love seeing different teams get up there in the college rankings. It was awesome seeing Cincinnati as well, but the reason why just Gunter has a lot of untapped potential in my eyes. I think that a team like the Bengals, who really have unlocked a lot of defensive linemen's top potential, you see B.J. Hill and why am I blanking on Hendrickson? You see all these guys that are just absolutely playing bonkers. Do I think Gunter's going to be as good as Trey Hendrickson? No, I don't think so. But I do think he can turn into a serviceable D lineman and a rotational guy, and I think this is going to be a steal for them this late in the draft. For the Browns, Perion Winfrey, round 4, pick 1808. Just an absolute steal. They needed a D tackle. They got one of the best ones in this class. Everyone raved about him at the Senior Bowl. He had such a great time there, and now he's going to Cleveland, where he's, lining up in the interior from Myles Garrett. This is just going to be scary. I really do like what they have here in Perion Winfrey. I think he's going to do a ton for the Cleveland Browns. Fills a position of need as well, and they got a guy who really had a 2nd-round grade, in my opinion, on him. They got him all the way in the 4th round, and he's probably going to start right away. So great value for the Browns. Really love the pick. For the Pittsburgh Steelers, it's going to be George Pickens, one of my favorite receivers in this class. I think that his injury really derailed his rankings for a lot of people and why he fell to where he did. But, he came back, and he came back with a bang. He really did look very good when he was back on the field. So getting him to a team like the Steelers, where you already got Claypool and Deontay Johnson, this is going to be an awesome offense for him to be a part of. They took another receiver later, Calvin Austin, which is good for them as well. But Pickens, I think, right away is going to have an impact, and he's going to play a solid role in Kenny Pickett's development as long as he can go. Because the Pickett to Pickens connection, it's just too fun to say to not happen. Here at the Baltimore Ravens, sorry about that, the Baltimore Ravens, I have David Ojabo, their 45th pick in this draft. They knocked it out of the park day one. Kyle Hamilton, Tyler Linderbaum, absolutely insane. Getting a guy like Ojabo, who isn't going to be ready to play until probably around playoff time, but you're looking at a team that should be around that playoff mark. You're getting one of the best pass rushers in this class, a top 10 talent, before the injury, and you're getting him all the way in the mid-second round on a team that already has a Dafe Owe. I mean, there's just not much more you can say about this. Kyle Hamilton's going to be over the top. The offense is going to be just as elite as it always is, as long as Lamar stays healthy. This is just such a fun pick. Ojabo's going to be perfect in Baltimore, even without Wink Martindale. I think he's going to be doing everything that we thought he would do in the NFL once he comes back from injury, and speedy recovery to him for that. For the Lions, I took Jamison Williams. Originally, when this pick happened, I was so shocked by it, and I was just like, man, is this really the right move, trading up for Jamison Williams? But the more I just think about it, man, I love this pick. I mean, they have DJ Chark on a 1-year deal. What's going to happen? Who knows? Amon-Ra St. Brown balled out in the second half of the season. We have to see if if that's his new normal or if that was just a good part. But you're looking at this offense, and man, it could use a speed threat. It could use a guy like Jameson Williams who really can do everything on the field. And when you look at Detroit, man, DeAndre Swift in the backfield, TJ Hawkinson at tight end. Now you have Jameson Williams, Amon-Ra St. Brown, DJ Chark. This is an offense. This truthfully is. Now, the quarterback situation, is Goff the guy? We'll definitely find out this year. He's got a lot of pressure on him. But when Jameson Williams is ready to play, if he is everything that he was at Bama and Ohio State, I mean, this is going to be a guy that is going to be one of the best receivers in the NFL, and he's going to be back in Detroit, showing some love to Detroit in the NFL. And we might see them in the playoffs sooner than we think with an offense as dynamic as this, as long as they can figure some other stuff out. Really love the Jameson Williams pick. Now here for the Minnesota Vikings, Andrew Booth Jr. at pick 42. They were trading down, and it was kind of weird to see all these different trade downs, especially in division. And we'll talk about one of their guys in a little bit, but Andrew Booth Jr. fits exactly what they needed. They needed a corner. They needed help. Patrick Peterson's back, so he'll be able to help Andrew Booth develop. He'll be able to teach him what he knows, but at the same time, Booth is going to be able to step out there and cover right away. Minnesota has desperately needed some help in that secondary, especially at the corner position, for years now. And you're hoping they've spent some first-round picks, some second-round picks. They've spent picks on guys that haven't worked out, and they're hoping this one does. I think it will. Here with the Packers selection here, one of the teams that the Minnesota Vikings traded down with, Christian Watson is the selection here, who is going to be an absolute monster in this offense. I mean, he's big, he's strong, he's fast. He also route runs like a monster. If he can do everything that he was showing in the Senior Bowl and at NDSU, I mean, this is going to be the next best target for Aaron Rodgers, and he's going to have a lot of time played this year. I think he's going to turn into one of the better receivers this year. I'm truthfully just so excited to see what Christian Watson can do at the next level, and Aaron Rodgers should be happy that he got a receiver as talented as Watson. For the Bears, another hard one. I'm picking Kyler Gordon. I really just wish that they would have helped out Justin Fields a lot more on the offensive line and on that receiving core, but they got a plan in place. Whatever it is, we don't know. But Kyler Gordon, let's talk about him for a second. One of the better corners. He got overshadowed a lot because McDuffie, but at the same time, Gordon was almost as talented as McDuffie was, or as highly touted as well. And you're getting him alongside Jalen Johnson, who is already a stud in the NFL. Now you have two corners that should be very good together. That's a great duo to have, and this is a passing league. You need guys to stop the pass. So I like the Kyler Gordon pick a lot. For the Niners, another team that's hard to grade because they just really didn't have that many picks. Ended up going with Drake Jackson. Nothing much to it. Getting more edge help. When Bosa went down, you saw the impact that it had on their team. I think that now you look at a guy like Drake Jackson, he's going to be able to rotate in and out with the guys that they have there, get some reps, just help out the rotation and do a lot there. Really like the pick for the 49ers. Now for the Arizona Cardinals, I have Myjai Sanders, the 100th pick, or round 3 for the Cardinals. I mean, he was a beast at Cincinnati. This is a guy who was a fringe first rounder for a lot of the draft process. He started to fall down on a lot of people's boards just because of other guys rising up. And Sanders coming in here, especially with the loss of Chandler Jones, you guys are going to get a guy who's going to come in and play right away. I think he's going to make that impact. He's going to get off the edge. He's not Chandler Jones, but he has the upside to be a very solid edge rusher at the next level. I like this, especially at the pick 100, not even having to take him as high as first round or second round. For the Rams, again, another team that just doesn't have that many picks, but they got Darion Kendrick in round 6 at pick 212. This is a guy who is one of the better corners in this draft, but he has a lot of different stuff about him off the field, on the field that teams might shy away from. But getting him here, if he can turn everything around, if he can just become that corner that we all knew he was before his transfer, before everything, I mean, Kendrick's going to be a stud. And getting him in L.A., who just seems to always have these corners come out of nowhere and just start balling out, the Rams got a good one here from Kendrick. For the Seattle Seahawks, I like the Tariq Woolen pick in round 5, 153. He's a physical specimen. Everyone knows he's a combine warrior. Can he put it together? That's where it all comes down to. But getting him here in round 5, if he can't put it together, it's no love lost between him and the fan base. I mean, truthfully, it's a late pick. It's nothing more to risk. But if he does pan out the way that he can, having him and Kobe Bryant, be drafted in the same draft class, having 2 corners as big and strong and as fast as those guys are, that is a possibility of a plus, like triple plus draft class if they can get 2 guys to lock down like that. You hope Tariq Woolen can be that for them. He looks like he has the ability to. I'm a huge fan. One of my favorite picks. For the Panthers, simply, it's Ike Ekwonu. And, I mean, the fact that you get him at pick 6, he fell there, which is perfect for them. They probably the best offensive lineman in the class, him or Evan Neal. They got him as the first offensive lineman, and they went away from the rumors. The rumors were they need a quarterback, they need this, they need that, and they were like, what we need is to build up this offensive line to protect either Darnold or Corral now or PJ Walker or whoever we trade for. We need that, and that is what they did. They didn't reach on a quarterback. They didn't go crazy with that. Ike Ekwonu was the selection. He's going to protect whoever's back there. He's going to protect McCaffrey. I love the selection. I think it does a lot for this Carolina Panthers team because people forget how good this team is with McCaffrey healthy. McCaffrey, Moore, Anderson. This is a good team. This really is. That defense is great as well. They just really need McCaffrey to be there. He is a big chunk of that team. Now for the Atlanta Falcons, I had Desmond Ridder as my favorite selection. He was one of my favorite quarterbacks in this draft class. I'm pretty sure he might have even been my quarterback 2 for some point behind Malik Willis. But yeah, Desmond Ridder going to Atlanta, he might have a chance to play right away, improve, kind of like Davis Mills, where a lot of people thought, hey, Houston's going to have to take a quarterback this upcoming draft because Deshaun Watson's going to be gone. And let alone they did not. They have Davis Mills in the 3rd round, and they stuck with him. And now he's looking like he's going to be the starter and possibly the franchise guy if he can put it all together. Desmond Ridder can have that same type of impact if Mariota can't figure it out with Atlanta. He has that ability. He has the upside. I really do like him, but if things go bad, they might be looking for a quarterback next year, but at least you didn't spend a top pick on it. You spent a mid-round pick, 74. It's high, but it's not too high. I think this is a good selection for the Falcons. I think that he'll make a great impact his rookie year. Now for the Tampa Bay Bucks, I have Rachaad White being the selection here, 91st pick. The reason I love Rachaad White is he really does play similar to what Ronald Jones was doing there. And now you have a replacement for a guy. Ronald Jones is gone, and Rachaad White is in his place. You really don't have to change anything about it. You just teach him what Ronald was doing. And if Fournette goes down, I think Rachaad White can carry that load. I think he's going to do a ton. And anytime you can play on an offense led by Tom Brady, you're going to learn a lot. You need to absorb all of that, and you're going to play to your highest potential because Brady demands it. And so I really do love this pick for the Buccaneers. For the New Orleans Saints, I've loved Chris Olave as a prospect for such a long time. He was my number 1 receiver. So for him to get traded up for at pick 11 and be taken was an absolute, perfection in my eyes. I really do like Chris Olave a ton. He fits perfectly in New Orleans now with Juice Landry and Michael Thomas as well. I mean, there's just nothing more to say. This is a phenomenal pick for Jameis Winston, who really we know loves to air the ball out. This is an offense that is looking very phenomenal coming into this year. I cannot wait to see what this Saints team can do going into this season. For the Eagles, it's redundant, but you have to say it. Nakobe Dean at pick 83 is a steal. If he is healthy, if he plays to the potential that he is, and he's as great of a linebacker as we thought of him as his prospect, this is an absolute knocked out of the park pick. I was going to put Jordan Davis here because I love Jordan Davis as a prospect, but Nakobe Dean is just too good to pass up. I mean, if he does even half of what we thought he can do at the next level, this is still going to be a home run pick for a team that is desperate for linebacker help. Eagles knocked it out of the park here. For the Dallas Cowboys, I have Damone Clark, the 176th pick out of round 5. Guy who's hurt, might not play at all this first season, but he is one of the best linebackers in this class. And for a team like Dallas who can afford to wait on a guy like this, they did this with Jalen Smith. They bet on a guy after an injury, and it paid out for them in very high fashion with Jalen Smith. Unfortunately, they had to let him go, and Smith kind of has fallen off since then. But those years that Smith was there was years where he was very much a dominant force at that linebacker position. So adding Damon Clark to this, letting him rehab, letting him learn, and getting him on that field, hopefully sometime this season, if not the year after that, I think he's going to be a stud. Then we go over to the New York Giants. Kayvon Thibodeau is the pick. You could argue he's the best player in this class, and they got him at the 5th selection. I mean, this and Evan Neal were just 2 home run selections. I think everyone and their mothers agree that the Giants won day one. The Giants and the Jets really won day one. It's just the picks that were made were crazy. But Kayvon Thibodeau, he fits New York. You see him in the media. He does everything that you'd want out of a superstar in the New York area, and he just seems like he's going to be perfect. It fills a position of need. He's got the personality. it just seems everything is going right for the Giants with the selection. I love the pick. Last but not least, the Washington Commanders. I have Sam Howell being my favorite pick for them. Plays a very similar game to what Carson Wentz does. He's a little bit undersized compared to Wentz, but you're going to be able to learn from him. If Wentz is struggling, Howell, or Wentz goes down with an injury, Howell can go in there over Heineke. I think he can win the job over Heineke. He has the upside. Some people see him as the best quarterback in this class. Some people have had that take. People really do like Sam Howell, and I understand. He has a beautiful deep ball. He's poised. He's able to run. But to get him all the way in the 5th round, that's crazy. If he can turn out to even start for one season, like a Trevor Siemian season, then this pick was amazing. The fact that you were able to get him in round 5 is just amazing value. Absolutely love this pick. But that's going to be it for this video. If you guys did enjoy, please be sure to leave a like, subscribe if you are new, turn those notification bells on. And of course, if you guys did miss out, go check out Underdog Fantasy. Match their first deposit up to $100 using code Sormani, SORMANI. And let me know in the comment section down below when you did that, and I'll be able to reach out to you as well. Guys, I really do appreciate you watching this. If you did enjoy, again, leave that like. If you didn't, just refresh the page and let me know what you think the second time. Because without further ado, that's going to be from me. I'll see you guys in the next one.
How you talking 50K, how you talking making plays or just talking, yeah. I do this here on my own time. Time is money, so I did it on my own dime. Word to Bookie, yeah, this homage gave me game. Yeah, he taught me family ties, put the back there above me. Nah, I can't wait for you.